Alright, so got this DR10 a couple months ago. Decided to finally do a little review on it. As you can tell, a couple things aren't stock. Got the Reaction Pro lines with the split 6 wheels. Needed that because the stock Reedy system, it's good for 3S. It's not consistent. I wanted to stay within a 2S system, so if I ever decide to compete, I'm just doing this for fun and just for my own enjoyment, really. As you can tell, the body's been beat up quite a bit. She's been through it. And that's only because I got rid of the Reedy system and went with the Maclan system. And we'll get into that a little later. But all in all, the car does pretty good. When I got it, channel 1 on the receiver was messed up, so I had to put a different radio system in it. No problem, had an extra one laying around. Other than that, it did pretty well on the Reedy system. It just wasn't consistent and enough power for me. Like I said, I want to stay in the 2S system, and it just couldn't handle it. I think it was running like a 460 or 450 or something like that on 2S, and that was it. But so what I eventually wound up doing is I got a cheap secondhand, I believe it was a 10.5 turn Hobby Wing just stock system. Put it in there. You got a little quicker with the sensor set up. You know, it wasn't cogging on the low end. It was a lot more consistent numbers. Still wasn't enough power for me. I can't remember what it was running. I think I was down to 260, or excuse me, 360s or something like that. Still wasn't enough power or speed for me. So eventually, through the Maclan 160 ESE with the Maclan 6600 kV 4-pole motor. And that's what led us to where we are today, at the 249 mark. And what I've had to do as far as chassis to achieve that is put shock limiters in the front. It limits how low the shocks can go. It can still get downforce. The rear shocks, I've got a lot of spacers on it because I'm still running stock springs on it, and I've got to get it stiff as possible. Because right now what I'm limited to is the wheelie bar. When it squats, it shakes side to side and it gets into the car, and it gets the car up on its tires on the sidewalls. And as you can tell, looking at that sidebar right there, it does eat them up. No problem. We've got better wheelie bar on the way, so I can get it sitting down on it. Stiffer springs, and hopefully I'll be able to take some of this weight off the front. Run 8 ounces up there just to help keep it down. When I take it down to 7 ounces, the back end tries to outrun itself. So I'm fighting chassis issues, no problem. That's what you get with the rear mount motor. And that's the whole other thing about getting a lot of power with the rear mount. The motor's spinning backwards at 50 to 70,000 RPMs while your front tires are spinning forward, so it literally tries to separate itself. So that's why you need a good wheelie bar system, so it can sit down on it and be able to still transfer all of it through and hopefully keep it planted in front of the tire instead of behind the tire. And that'll keep it from chewing up here. Shorter springs, stiffer springs, I'll be able to get the back end down so it can sit a lot more flat and lower to the ground. And after that, I think I'll need a body, just because the stock one is not aerodynamic at all. I can unscrew the front out of it, drop it way down farther, but the problem I'm running into is the tire's already rubbed under braking. So, get it down any farther, it's just going to dig through the body. It really needs a different body. Can't really get the rear body down any farther, because once it squats, it really starts getting up into the body with the tire. So I think the other ones are a little bit wider to help compensate with that. If not, I'll have to figure something else out there. But for the time being, $249 on a stock chassis, stock springs, stock wheelie bar with upgrade electronics. I'm pretty happy with it. I told myself once I hit 2.7s, I was going to be happy. That didn't quite work out. I said when I hit 2.5s, I'll be happy. Now I'm wanting to get sub 2s with the plastic chassis rear mount motor. I know it's going to be hard to do, but she's running straight down Broadway like it is, and I'm really not using the wheelie bar because it's so loose. That's why I've got so much spacers back here. But once I'm able to utilize the whole chassis and keep the momentum going through the chassis instead of away from it, we'll do a lot better. But the Maclan system changed it all. Maclan, I'm not 100% sure what they go by. It is a censored motor, her ESC motor. It does well. I'll talk more about that in a later video though. But one thing that helped out a lot on the chassis was getting the sway bars. They say to leave this screw out so it can flex. I personally like the bar to be as stiff as possible so it keeps the rear tires from twisting a little bit. Other than that, that's all I've done on the chassis. I did put 200 weight diff fluid in the rear with the metal gears, only simply because when I was getting into the power, what it started doing was shifting power from right to left tire, and it would just get side to side and get out of control about half track. So that helped out a lot there. I'm still getting the chassis tweaked out from changing that, because it does change power distribution and all that. But with that being said, that's the fun part of it. So this is what I've done so far. Don't hate on me for the Traxxas plugs, but that's the only batteries I had laying around. This car was an impulse buy. I saw it for 200 bucks. I said, why not? I've always wanted one. I didn't see the purpose in spending $400 and $500 for them for a purpose-built car where you can only do one thing with it. But here we are with it. I'm getting deeper and deeper into it. But hopefully once I can get into the high ones, low twos, and I'll be happy with it, and we might go a different direction from there. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned.